Hi, this is Chatterboxing. I'm Sean. I'm going to talk today about Kell, Brook, Gennady, Golovkin, their fight, what they're going to do after it, if Kell Brook really has any chance at all of winning this fight. It was announced a few weeks ago, so now the dust has settled a little bit. They've had their second press conference. The initial reaction from everyone was, well, firstly, it's shock. No one expected it. No one saw this coming. Um, After that, people were basically thinking like Brook's got no chance of winning this fight. Myself included, I thought that. I mean, if you really think about it, who are the top middleweights right now? If you think you got, uh, well, Billy Joe Saunders and Danny Jacobs are probably like the top two really right now. I mean, Lemieux and Murray kind of were as well, I suppose. He's beaten them. Murray's obviously super middleweight now. Um, would people have really given those two a chance against Golovkin? Not much of a chance, to be honest. Um, Canelo, anyone really giving him a chance? Again, not really. So why would anyone give Kell Brook a good chance of winning this? Um, Personally, I believe that he's the best welterweight, but there's no real proof of that. That's just my own kind of opinion. He certainly hasn't proven that. He's beaten. He's got the best win there. I mean, he beat Sean Porter. Keith Thurman beat Sean Porter as well, but Brook was a lot more convincing, in my opinion. He just looks like he's the best. He has the best attributes, best skills. But you're not talking about someone who's clearly. I mean, I'm sort of taking Manny Pacquiao. I'm not including Manny Pacquiao really in that because he's kind of on his way out and he's well past his best. When I say that Kell Brook is like the best, um, but he's by no means established as the number one welterweight. I mean, I think he is. Other people probably think someone else, like Keith Thurman, possibly. Some people think Errol Spence is, even though he's completely unproven, really. But none of them are really that proven. So yeah, I mean, it's difficult to make a convincing case for Kell Brook to win the fight. Um, well, in terms of things that he does well, his main kind of attributes. First of all, he's very strong and powerful. Um, he can, if he's fighting people who are not really like that good, like the likes of Frankie Gavin, Jojo Dan, these he can just completely overpower them. If he's fighting really big, strong welterweights like Sean Porter, not completely overpower him, but he was able to kind of overpower him enough or at least kind of hold him back when Sean Porter just relentlessly come forward, swinging loads of punches, trying to basically just bully him and impose his physical strength and size on him, like he did to Paulie Malignaggi, like he did to Devon Alexander. He wasn't able to do that with Kell Brook. Kell Brook was physically strong enough to prevent that from happening. So he is very strong and he is very powerful. You've seen he punches very hard. Um, this is at welterweight against welterweights, so that doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be able to do the same thing against someone like Gennady Golovkin, who's two weight divisions above him. But it does mean that it's not going to be like your average welterweight jumping up two weight classes. He is, well, I can't say he's like the strongest, but he's definitely up there, isn't he? He's one of the strongest, one of the hardest hitters. So although that has been an advantage for him at welterweight, and you could say, well, it won't really be much of an issue at middleweight. It at least potentially will go some way to nullify the the disadvantage of going up two weight classes. That's one advantage he also, or one skill he has, or one attribute, should I say. He's also very accurate. He's very accurate. He's got very good timing. So when you put that together with his punches, his hard punches, he can hit you with good counters, like very well timed counters. He can also lead. He's got, I mean, his main strength are straight punches, but he is good with a little kind of short uppercuts, hooks. He's got quite a good variety to his punching, but definitely his straight punches are the best. I mean, his 1-2 is the one that stands out. Um, but he does time that very well. And against someone like Golovkin, who I'm assuming will be, I think he's like slightly taller than him. He's not massively taller, but he is a bit taller. Um, Probably got a slightly longer reach. So he's going to need to have good timing, and he's going to need to be accurate. He's going to need to try and put a dent in him. He's going to have to try and put him off early doors. Because if he can't do that, then you'd imagine that Golovkin's going to think in the back of his mind, I can just walk through Kell Brook. He's not going to be able to put a dent in me. So he needs to be able to, make him think twice with that. Another thing that he has that's very good is very, very composed. He's very composed in a variety of situations. I've seen him when he's kind of under attack. For his, well, case in point, the Sean Porter fight. First, not his first fight in America, but his first big fight in America. First world title fight against like a world class opponent who at the time had a lot of momentum behind him. Everyone was saying he was like the next big thing. The next big, but like the at that weight he was the man. At that moment, the new one on the obviously he still had like Mayweather and Pacquiao, but in terms of like the kind of young guns coming up, he was he had a lot of momentum behind him. He's a very sort of formidable opponent, and he's quite an intimidating opponent at that time. A lot of people were questioning Kell Brook's mental strength going into that. He went into the fight because they were saying he sort of ducked Alexander, and I thought that was nonsense personally, but there was a lot of that, a lot of pressure on him going into it. He Sean Porter was on him the whole time, just steaming in, head first, just sort of just swinging, looking like he was just having a punch up in a car park, basically. Um, but kind of awkward, and it's difficult to deal with someone like that. If you've ever done any kind of like fight, any kind of like boxing or sparring or anything, you've got someone who's just reckless. Then it's difficult to deal with. It's difficult to keep your composure. But he did. He kept his composure the whole night. He stuck to what he does best, and he never really got rattled. Now I've also seen him do that the other way around, where he's got somebody hurt. He's looking like he can like kind of close the show, but he doesn't just steam in like sort of Amir Khan style or something like Deontay Wilder and just start like swinging like wild punches. He'll hurt them, but he'll just sort of take a step back and he'll pick his punches very well, and he'll maintain his discipline, maintain his composure. So that's something that he has going for him, and that's a real strength of his, in my opinion. He's got very good footwork, which he'll need. Um, Very important that he's going to need to try to. He's going to need to sort of get in and out, but at the same time he can't. He can't afford to be on the back foot too much. He can't think that, "Oh, I'm going to stay away from him and box on the back foot." I mean, 'cause when has anybody ever done that successfully against Gennady Golovkin? I mean, I haven't seen anyone do that successfully. Maybe someone else has, but I certainly haven't. And I've never seen Kell Brook do that successfully. That's not really his game. He stands his ground, and he'll put in his power punches. He's been fighting at welterweight, so we haven't seen him fight someone with the power of Golovkin. So that's going to be interesting to see how he copes with that. But he can't. I mean, that's why you think it's going to be very difficult for Kell Brook, really, because he can't afford to go on a back foot, because that's really just inviting trouble, in my opinion. He's just gonna, if he does that, he's gonna Golovkin's just gonna do what he wants. And he's gonna close him down. We've seen him cut off the ring before. He's famous for it. He'll just trap him and he'll just beat him up. So that's not really an option. He can do it in spells, but he certainly can't expect to do that for the whole fight and get away with it. Even if that was a genuine game plan, the fact that we've never seen him do it before means that I wouldn't really have that much confidence in him just suddenly doing something I've never seen before against the best opponent he's ever fought before. So yeah, he's going to have to sort of stand his ground. He's going to have to. He's going to have to be kind of first to the punch. He's going to have to really. It is difficult, isn't it? Like to really like make a case for him doing it. he's going to have to do that. He's going to have to try and hurt him. You can't really see him knocking him out. I mean, Golovkin's never been knocked out before. Never been knocked out as an amateur, apparently. He's never been knocked down before. And he's obviously fought people who punch at least as hard as Kell Brook. People like Lemieux, people like Stevens. I'm sure quite a few people. I mean, he's used to fighting bigger people than Kell Brook. So Kell Brook, yeah, he's a hard puncher, but it's unlikely that he's going to be able to knock out Golovkin. He possibly can hurt him with his accuracy. He can potentially hit him enough times, hit him with like good combinations, and then kind of avoid him slightly. Um, but yeah, it's going to be very difficult for him to do that. But that's the only thing he really can do, in my opinion. He can't go on the back foot. Um, so he's going to have to just try and be quite elusive, but from close. And he's going to have to kind of put him off coming in. He's going to have to hit him with hard punches. And the problem is as well, like with Sean Porter, when he was coming in on him, he could basically just grab him, and he was like kind of strong enough to like hold him there and like kind of force him back. Is he going to be able to do that, or you could like kind of move him around, give him a little cheeky uppercut or something? Is he going to be able to do that to Golovkin? It remains to be seen, but you know, I'm not that confident, to be honest. I mean, my prediction is that Golovkin will win by stoppage or knockout. Probably a stoppage. He's a lot um, quicker, I suppose, than a lot of people that he's been in with. Um, he's quite tough, so I can't see him getting knocked out at one point. You never know, can happen. But I think the most likely is that he's just gonna catch up with him, just beat him up a bit, and then he's gonna get stopped. That's what I think will happen. Hope I'm wrong. Kell Brook's obviously very confident about it, which is a good thing. You need that kind of I don't really know what you call it. I mean, I suppose single-mindedness. He's obviously hasn't got to where he is now by listening to other people telling him what he can't do. He believes that he can do it. He knows that everyone else is saying, "Oh, you can't do it. You can't do that." So if everyone just went along with what popular opinion or conventional wisdom suggested, nothing great would ever get done, would it? No, people just say, "Oh, you can't do that, mate. That's mental." And you know, okay, then I won't do it then. Do you know what I mean? Nothing would happen. So there are cases when people are just saying, "Look, there's no way you're going to be able to do this, mate." But he does it anyway. He just thinks, "Well, I think I can," and he's just going to go in there with complete self-belief and try and win. I mean, he's saying all the right stuff, and he doesn't seem like he's worried at all. Maybe that would change, like when when he's in the ring. But at least now, he doesn't seem to be particularly worried about it. Um, One thing that I did hear him say, it's not the kind of thing I wanted to hear. He was saying that he can't wait to feel Golovkin's power. Yeah, doesn't sound like a very great game plan to me. It doesn't seem like I saw a video, this was a while ago. Boxing Beats and Rhymes made a good point. He said if this was like Mayweather or Andre Ward, they'd be saying, "Oh, I don't plan on getting hit." When someone says to you, "Oh, what about Golovkin's power?" He'd say, "Well, I'm not worried about getting hit." That's what you want to hear, because I'm not planning on getting hit. I don't really want to listen to him saying, "Oh, well, I'm looking forward to." Because if you're looking forward to feeling how hard he hits, I don't think it's going to be a very long night. I can't see him being able to take. No one else can take it at middleweight so far. Well, no one else, but was he like 20 straight knockouts or something? No. What's so special about Kell Brook that he can last 12 rounds with someone like Golovkin with 20 other middleweights haven't been able to? The way you're going to be able to do it, unless you're significantly bigger than him, is by not taking too many punches. So I hope that's just something that he says. He's got a good trainer, and I think that there'll be I hope that they'll be a bit more sensible going into this one. No. In terms of what they do after, really, obviously, of course, it depends on what happens. Golovkin, I suppose, if he wins in England, knocks out Kell Brook, I think the obvious one there would be for him because he obviously wants like Billy Joe Saunders' belt. He's going to have to put the money up for that because from Saunders' point of view, he's obviously thinking, I've got this belt, I've got something that you want, so I know you want it, and I know you're desperate for it. You can't really get any fights, so if you want to try and win this belt, you're going to have to pay me for it. So by him fighting in the UK, he's going to generate quite a lot of money, generate quite a lot of interest, and I suppose that's kind of what he's thinking in the back of his mind. What could be his next move? The problem with that, though, is that the reason why he's getting paid so much for this fight is because Kell Brook has the backing of Eddie Hearn and Sky Sports, or Matchroom Sports and Sky Sports. Billy Joe Saunders doesn't have that kind of backing. He fights on Box Nation, and they don't have that kind of money to pay him. So Golovkin is making so much money in this fight because it's a Matchroom show and it's being broadcast on Sky Sports. For them to get Billy Joe Saunders to fight them, and because obviously Billy Joe Saunders from a business position knows he's in a very strong position, he's going to want paying good money for it. So Golovkin's team are going to have to come up with that. So I think maybe that's something they'll try and pursue. You know, I suppose it depends on how he looks. If Kell Brook can be competitive in this fight, then maybe a few other people will, grow a pair of bollocks and want to fight. I mean, who knows? In terms of Kell Brook, um, it's a shame. I would have liked to have seen him fight more at 147. According to Eddie Hearn, no one really wants to fight him there. They said they've made offers to like Danny Garcia, Adrian Broner, Lamont Peterson. I can't remember who else, and none of them wanted to do it. They didn't want to come to England for loads of money. They didn't want Kell Brook to go to America. He said like, Keith Thurman. They said they weren't. They didn't. His team didn't seem very keen on it. But it wasn't like they actually offered them the fight because they sort of wrapped up for a long time with the Sean Porter business. So, maybe they would be. I mean, but he seems to think they're not that keen on it. Errol Spence, obviously, according to Eddie Hearn, he thinks he would have been, and I reckon he would have been as well, because he's probably in a similar position. He wants a big opponent. People probably aren't that keen to fight him for the sort of high risk, low reward, like typical thing everyone says. Kind of a bit like Kell Brook himself. So he probably would be up for it. He's obviously, he should become mandatory for Kell Brook in any case. So I suppose they're thinking that fight will happen at some point. Whether he'll go down to like 147 again after this, I'm not really sure. Because obviously, if he gets up to this weight, if they say struggling to make it anyway, if he gets up to this weight, and then let's be honest, there's a good chance he's going to take like a bit of a beating from Golovkin in the fight. So he might well need a bit of time out. So then after all that time out, have him got up to like 160. How easy would it be for him to then get down to 147 if he was already struggling to make it anyway? I don't know. I would like to see him fight. Definitely, I don't think Danny Garcia is gonna want to take the fight unless he has to really. But I'd love to see him fight Keith Thurman and Errol Spence. Hopefully those fights can be made. Maybe they'll be up at 154 soon anyway. But you'd think the obvious place for Kell Brook to go after this would be 154. Because I don't 160. I mean, if he beats Golovkin, well, I mean, if he does that, then the world is his oyster, isn't it? But yeah, it's unlikely. What I think will probably happen, I probably think he'll lose to Golovkin, but I think he'll do it in a reasonable style. I think he'll give a good account of himself. I think he will be more competitive than people think. I don't think he'll have enough to beat him. I don't think because obviously, he's going up that much weight. He's not really used to fighting at that weight. He's not used to being hit by people like that hard, especially not Golovkin. I mean, if he'd just sort of gone up there to fight, I don't know, like a sort of British level middleweight, someone like you know, Spike O'Sullivan, John Ryder, um, Curtis Stevens. I mean, he's not British, but do you know what I mean? That kind of level. Maybe you give him a chance, and he kind of like he'd get accustomed to it, and like bit by bit he get used to it. But going straight in there against Golovkin, it's a very very big ask. Hope I'm wrong. Probably like do another real sort of video like closer to the time. But right now, yeah, I mean I can't see him doing it. But the only way the way I can see him doing it is for him to basically stand his ground and basically hit him with some good shots, but not moving away too much. I, I don't know, man. In terms of like the clinches and stuff, he's not going to be able to. I don't know. It's just the only way I can see him doing it is if he just kind of shows us something that he's never shown before, which is possible. Obviously, people say people like kind of who know him in England, like trainers and stuff, say that at middleweight, when he's at that weight, he's like better and he's like really beating people up in sparring and stuff. That's not obviously the same thing, but it's kind of the sort of the element of unknown about it. Because when you look at it, you think this is what he's got to do to win. He hasn't done anything before to suggest that he can do that, but you never know because it is going up to a new weight where he says he'll feel more comfortable at. People are saying they see he looks like a really different fighter at that weight, but we've never seen him at that weight like competitively. So, but yeah, that's the only thing that really for that kind of well, it's not even really a game plan, is it? But it's something that he needs to try to do to have any chance of winning. But yeah, I mean that's my thoughts on it. Let me know if anyone else has got any other ideas of how he can do it and what you think they do after. Okay, well it's been a bit of a long video this, so I'm gonna wrap it up now. Thanks very much for listening, and I'll see you next time.